Now, as a composer and a conductor, I tend to listen to music a lot more analytically than the normal person. I listen to what's going on inside the music, what's going on underneath the hood or underneath the bonnet, as we say here in the UK. So I'm now going to take apart a few elements of a piece of music. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, you have the ability to make comments. So I'd be really interested to know what your comments are, what your thinking is as I go along and as I ask questions. From this point, you won't see my face, but you'll hear my voice and hear the elements of music which I'm now about to present to you. Please do participate, do interact, answer a few questions. It's time to get inside the music lab. So I'm going to kick off by playing one instrumental sound. So as you hear it, you can write in the comments as you hear it how it makes you feel or what genre of music you think it is, all of that sort of stuff. Here it is. Right, what I'm going to do is add an instrument to it now. This is going to be a bass instrument. So we're now going to add a bit of synthesizer. Now, the synthesizer played what might have sounded like a strange rhythm, but it was supposed to play that particular rhythm. So do share your thoughts as to what this music is sounding like to you. And the next thing I'm going to play is two percussion elements. Here it comes. So as you heard that, what came to your mind? How did you feel? What was the general musical style that you would associate that with? Comments below, please. So now I'm going to add a bit of percussion. Right, let's put it all together. So you've now heard these different combinations of sounds. So this is what you've been hearing. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the music that you've been hearing. Here it is. Drum part looks like. Here we go. How about that? We'll add the percussion part. Here it is. Well, I'm now going to play you a full version of what you've been listening to. Get ready. Now, of course, if you are an orchestral player, you might have played this piece of music before, so you might have recognized some of the elements from the outset. But I'm sure if you're not an orchestral player and you're hearing this for the first time, broken down like this, you might be quite shocked. So, what am I getting at? What's been the purpose of this whole thing? Very simple. The energy at the end of Beethoven's Symphony Number 9 is the same as the energy of a modern dance club hit. Yep, I just said it. If you find yourself at this present moment in time wanting to switch off or saying, Ken, how could you? Or even, Ken, how dare you? You need to ask yourself, why? Is it because it's just not true? Or is it because I have dared to put untouchable classical music in the same sentence as that kind of music, dance modern music, which I don't like? It's all noise, it's not even music anyway. The point I'm making is if modern club music isn't music anyway, then what makes the Beethoven music? What makes it music? Because what I've done is I've translated the Beethoven across to a dance music context. I have not changed a note. I have not changed a rhythm. They are all as Beethoven wrote. What I did was I translated it across to the equivalent sound. So, some sounds I have actually kept intact. The triangle, Beethoven did write for a triangle, ting, 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 ting. He did write for a cymbal, clash. Okay, he wrote for a cymbal. He wrote for a bass drum. The bass drum in an orchestra is quite boomy, makes a lot of sound. A bass drum in a drum kit is also boomy. Often they put cushions to dampen the sound, and when it's mixed, it's what's called compressed in order for it to not cloud the rest of the mix with its boominess. So Beethoven wrote for a bass drum, and what he wrote for the bass drum to do, which was dum 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 dum, is what a bass drum does in dance music. The tempo this is going is 160 BPM, 160 beats per minute. Right, that is quick, and that's the same tempo that a lot of club dance music goes at. So this is not any different in terms of what's going on, in terms of what's the bass drum is required to do, how fast it's required to do it, and even how loud it's required to do it. The whole energy at this point of the symphony, it's all fortissimo, very loud, and it keeps loud. And this is Beethoven's statement. Beethoven's making a statement through this piece. A lot of his music is indeed social commentary. Some may know about the history of the Third Symphony, the Eroica Symphony, which was initially dedicated to Napoleon, but when Napoleon declared himself emperor, Beethoven was not pleased. He ripped, or I've scribbled out the name, or ripped the page out of his composition, the dedication page out of it, and the piece was just called, a tribute to heroism, Eroica. In my translation, I also used a synth sound at the top. And whilst Beethoven, of course, did not use a synth sound, he used woodwind, which do make quite a penetrating sound when you've got a piccolo, a flute, oboe, clarinet playing together, playing repeated. You see the way I actually move when I do that, but that's what that rhythm does, and that's what Beethoven wrote. I didn't make anything up and try to put it onto Beethoven. I actually played what Beethoven wrote, his notes, and the energy and the tempo. The bass. Now, I used a synthesizer bass because in modern dance music one would use a synthesizer rather than a double bass. But double bass players will tell you that that is quite a beast. That part of the symphony where they are required on their thick strings and their big basses to actually play Okay, and these octaves. All right, and if you see bass players playing this, you're going to see them all over the place. Okay, they're not going to be sitting there all lovely and relaxed and cool. They're going to be all over that thing, really giving it some energy in the bass. That's what Beethoven wrote. Energy in the bass. That's what the contemporary remixing recording engineer who's putting dance music together also uses. Now, I did something using what sounded like, West African drumming, and I particularly used the congas, a conga sound on that one. It just got that cross rhythm at the end, known as polyrhythm or polymeter, where it goes into this 3-time or this 6-time before going back into 4. So it's a 6 against 4 rhythm that's happening there. Now that in the original Beethoven is actually not on a conga, not on a percussion, not on a small percussion instrument, but on a large percussion instrument, the tuned percussion instrument, the timpani. And any timpani player who is playing according to the spirit of Beethoven passion and fire wouldn't just be playing unless the conductor said, that's too loud, it's going to deafen people in here. But really, again, if you look at the original score, what Beethoven really intended was for this to be like fire, like flames, real energy, right? And it's really fast drumming, and then goes into this at the end of it as well. So you put that together, the bass, energetic bass, the drums with the percussion, which Beethoven did use, triangle, cymbals, and you put it together with the which is going on in the woodwind. And of course there are other instruments as well. There's violins, there's a string instrument, and there's brass instruments and all of that. So it is, when you hear it, it's just loud, and it's something that really lifts, and your whole mood lifts, your heartbeat paces and races in that section, because that's what it's supposed to be. It's a celebration of freedom, of brotherhood, of togetherness. And the song is called Ode to Joy. So it's a celebration of joy through unity and togetherness and freedom. So Beethoven was really wanting to make a statement with that. So again, there was no holding back on that. So my general aim in all of this has been to tear down walls of musical division, musical apartheid, and let's all appreciate the fact that our different musical genres, there are characteristics which are more prominent in some than in others, but fundamentally there are many things that you can find are the same in terms of expression, and therefore we needn't be afraid of each other's music. We needn't feel that we need to put ourselves above others or look down on others because their musical tastes are different from ours. We all have something to say musically, and sometimes we all say it in the same way. Hope you've enjoyed this, and join me again for some more musical notes.